So I want to talk quite a lot about policy, but actually, well, I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this, but have you been involved in access talks?
So we've started access talks.
What happens?
Well, I've actually got my first one this week. So we do them in sequence. But I've done access talks before. I mean, I have to say I've never done them with any real sense that it was worth turning up. But this is very different, obviously, looking at the state of the opinion polls and feeling the level of frustration out there in the country with the government. And so you go in and you have an introductory meeting and you talk about your priorities for government. The idea is to help smooth the transition if there is a change of government so that the civil service are ready and prepared. They ask you some questions about your priorities. You ask them some questions about how things work in government, what capacity they've got in the department, what capabilities, what skill sets, because obviously incoming governments want to make some changes. And in my area, in development, we want to bring a far more strategic focus back to the work that we do on development. In 1997, Claire Short published the white paper, which was very crystal clear that the purpose of the Department for International Development was to eliminate global poverty. And we've really lost focus on that in recent years, not least because there is this major challenge facing the world, this, what I call the sort of triple doom loop of climate affected countries who are also dealing with poverty, who are also dealing with bad debt, which they can't resolve. And it means that they keep having to borrow more in order to mitigate the impact of climate change, which then in turn worsens poverty. And many of those countries are middle-income countries, but as a consequence, because we haven't helped them to resolve those issues and break that cycle, a lot of the world's aid, including our aid budget, has been diverted to those countries at the expense of the poorest people in the world. And so in order to return our development work to its original purpose, I'm determined that we're going to use the unique assets that Britain has. We're home to the biggest insurance industry in the world, the City of London, with a legal jurisdiction where those debts are meant to be resolved. And we've got some of the most creative people in the City of London who are developing the financial instruments that will help those countries to resolve it, which will mean that we can return the Department for International Development to its original purpose. And that will be the basis of the conversation that we have. So if any of the civil service are here, there's a sneak preview of what we're going to be discussing tomorrow.